What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I am Pam and thank you so much for choosing me today. So today, as you would have seen by my video title, I am saying goodbye to my 20s. 2021 is officially the last year. I've got a few months left as a 20-something-year-old. And I am so looking forward to turning 30. I don't know why, but I've got this inexplicable excitement for turning 30. For me, the 20s were like climbing a mountain. Okay, not that I would know what that is like in real life, but as you would have seen and as you can imagine, climbing a mountain is quite the challenge, not for the faint of hearts. So that's what I would kind of equate it to, climbing a mountain. And I feel like, or at least I can hope, that the 30s will be like that peak moment when you are standing on top of the world because you have conquered this mountain. And I just want to breathe in the fresh air that the 30s bring my way. So in this video, I am going to be basically self-reflecting and going down memory lane and finding things to be grateful for with the questions that I will be asking myself. The questions that I'm asking myself do not come from the internet. It's just something that I thought up. I'm wanting this video to be celebratory of the 20s. All right, without wasting any more time, let's get into this video. So I just had to, put some color on my face, put some color. I don't know what my color is doing, but let's just fix it. Alrighty. Okay, let's get into it. My favorite year/age in my 20s has got to be 23. I don't know why. Nothing eventful happened when I turned 23. I don't know if it has anything to do with 23 being my crown birthday, but for some reason I just felt like the most at ease when I turned 23. I was just okay. I was chilling. I was excited, kind of how I'm excited to turn 30. But yeah, 23 would have to be my favorite age in my 20s. So I've got 2 years in my 20s that were not my favorite, and that was 2011. In 2011, I was 19 years old, and 2016, I was 24 years old. And the reason why, in 2011, I had just finished school. Well, I finished school in 2009, and I was in a Bible college. And for some reason, in 2011, I just hit a really, really low dip. One word I would use to describe 2011 is just so unmotivated. I was so unmotivated. I was not happy with where I was in my life. I was super passive. I was just going with the flow, going with the motion. What was going on in 2011? And I just found myself in sort of like a dark hole. Like, there was one particular day, it was a Monday morning, where I just could not bring myself to continue with that day. I had woken up, gotten ready for the day, and then I just found myself like laying on the bed. No motivation for anything. I was not excited about a lot of stuff. I just could not deal. I didn't want to deal with anyone, and it was really, really low for me in 2011. The second year that was just the pits was 2016. I was 24 years old, and at this point I was working, but I was just like not happy again. I don't know, I was going through so many things. And I remember I was at church on a Sunday. The preacher was speaking, and she was speaking about disappointment. And let me tell you, that sermon hit me like a ton of bricks, because finally I had something to describe what I was going through. At that point, I just felt such like her message resonated so deeply with me, because it was then that I realized that I was just so disappointed with my life. I felt like everything I touched turned to dust. I felt like I didn't know where I was going. Am I going left or right? Do I love what I'm doing right now? Am I doing things truly for me, or am I just doing things because so many people are telling me that this is what you should be doing, or this really suits you, or you're good at this? Because you can be good at something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're passionate about that thing. But I knew that I was just so disappointed, and in that sermon I like sobbed and sobbed, and it was like, you know, that cry that you just needed to have so that all the gunk, the emotional gunk, comes out of you. That's how I felt. And it was at that point that I decided to make the necessary changes in my life to you know, put the necessary boundaries, to cut out every toxic thing that is pulling me down and like literally making me not want to lift myself from my bed. I had to make a decision, because now I had found and located that thing that I could use to describe what I'm actually going through. And from that point, I was able to kind of navigate and see what I needed and what I could live without in order for me to, you know, progress happily. 2016 I was just an emotional wreck. Not a lot of people knew that, but I knew that it was an internal thing that I was dealing with and that I needed to get myself out of as soon as possible. And I did, because I don't feel like that anymore. My happiest year conveniently was 2017. So 2016 I was a whole wreck, and 2017 was the year where my life kind of changed, and it changed for the better. 2017 I was 25 years old, and it was in that year that I started having a deeper friendship and relationship with my now husband. It wasn't a thing of he completes me, because I'm not a believer of finding someone to complete you. I believe that you need to sort yourself out, because if you can't sort yourself out, you can't expect somebody else to fix you. You know what I mean? That's it is unfair on the partner that you choose. So by the time my husband came along, Sebastian, like honestly, he's like the best thing ever. Honestly, he added to my newfound happiness. Obviously things just progressed and progressed for me mentally, but I do believe that I had to work on myself. And get myself to be happy. So that's why I chose 2017 as my favorite year, because when he came along, it's like this overflowing cup of just excitement, new adventure, happiness. So 2017 will always be my favorite year. My most challenging year would have to be 2019. 2019, I was 27 years old. At this point, I was already married, and I was due to give birth to my daughter, who was born. Sorry if you can hear that, it's my son. He's with our nanny. In 2019, I was pregnant, and it was in that year that I was due to give birth to my daughter. The reason why 2019 was most challenging for me is because I really battled with my daughter's delivery. It's like everything that I had planned and everything that I thought would go a certain way went completely left. That took me by surprise. And if I'm being very honest, like, childbirth is the most traumatic yet miraculous thing a woman will ever experience. Later, I would find that I was battling with severe postpartum depression, because of, you know, what happened when I was delivering my daughter. I went into an emergency C-section, and I feel like I didn't get that opportunity to really bond with her. I didn't get the skin to skin, because with an emergency C-section, the baby's health is priority. So I felt like I was robbed of that moment. And I had delivered on a Thursday evening at 6:30 p.m. and I only got to see Jordan the next morning, Friday morning at 9 a.m. because she needed a feed from me. She needed my breast milk. The thing that really took me aback with that was the fact that, okay, fine, the skin to skin moment was absolutely gone, because she didn't cry as soon as she came out of my womb. So there was a possibility of brain damage and no oxygen reaching her brain, if I'm not mistaken. So skin to skin was totally out the window, and she did not latch. She did not breastfeed at all. So I felt like a failure from the beginning. I experienced like mom guilt from the very beginning with Jordan, and I really battled, and I had to be snapped out of it. My husband had to sit me down, and when she had come home, one of my best friends had come over and she was sleeping over, and she also noticed that I was really struggling, and it did, you know, it was such a strain and pressure on my marriage, not because we were hating each other, but we were both going through this newborn experience. My postpartum depression made me very angry and very anxious. I would literally sob while she's crying. I'd be sobbing as well, because I felt like I felt like everybody else was doing a better job but me. Like, postpartum depression is so tricky, because sometimes you feel it's in your head. Maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I'm just overreacting because I'm a new mom. Sometimes you feel like, sometimes you don't even realize it, because I didn't even realize it until it was pointed out to me. I didn't even know that I needed a doctor, because your hormones are all over the place. Slowly but sure. And every time she was, you know, fed, whenever somebody offered to feed her milk, I would get so upset, because I felt like that was supposed to be my moment. I mean, she was a few days old, a few weeks old. I felt like that was supposed to be my moment with my daughter, you know, having her breast feed. But unfortunately, I did not have that. So it was kind of traumatic, and it's so ironic, because that's supposed to be your best time. Like, you're supposed to be so elated, which I was so excited to be a new mom. I had such a great pregnancy, but the aftermath fell on me like a ton of bricks. When she came home, it was so hard, and she's such a feisty little girl, and you know, she's so independent, and I'm just so proud of how she's grown and how we were able to raise her as best as we could until now. And even just our first Sunday back at church, I had to talk to myself and be like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And there were thoughts in my head like some people were trying to take her away from me. But honestly, the topic of postpartum depression is a whole other video, which I do plan on doing. I've kind of been putting it aside, because it does make me emotional. It's such a raw moment for me, because it was so recent. But one day I'll put that out, and I will dedicate that video to new moms who are wanting to have babies. And it's not an anti-pregnancy video. It wouldn't be, it's not that type of thing, but it's to give girls the heads up, because I feel like if postpartum depression was spoken about more, like you'd be better prepared for the possibility of PPD. But anyway, my most fulfilling year has got to be 2021. 29 years old, and I feel most fulfilled in 2021 because I feel like I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like, I'm happy again. I've conquered the mountain of postpartum depression. Yeah, I will have my moments, but I feel like with my family, like there's just like a completeness. Yeah, like there's, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you sit on a couch and you're like, yes, this is comfy, this is what I'm, you know, it just feels that way. I can't quite explain it, but I am happy with where I am right now. Like, yeah, I'm done with kids, and that's not to bash anybody who doesn't have a kid yet, or maybe if you plan on having kids later, like in your 30s. That's not to bash anyone about that, but I know for myself, my personal goal, little goal that I would talk about between myself and Jesus, I'll be like, please Lord, can I just have my kids by 30? I really don't want to start having kids by 30, because I feel like my 30s will be like my lit years. You know what I mean? I don't want to be pregnant in my 30s, and it was so. That's how it turned out for me, and I'm grateful for that. Again, that's not to diss anybody who wants to have their babies in their 30s or who are waiting, you know what I mean? Because for people it's different. People, you know, will find that they want their 20s to be their lit years, but for me, I always, from a very young age, I always felt like, you know what, I want to just get everything done so that by the time I'm 30, I can get lit. I don't know what that means yet, but I guess we'll find out when I'm at that age. But I'm ready. I think what I can appreciate, you know, about my 20s was the growing process, because I don't think I would have been able to handle my situation now if it happened earlier. That's why there's a time for everything, and I needed to go through those certain things, those certain hills and valleys, in order to get to the person that I am now. So I do appreciate that process in your 20s. I feel like whatever happens in your 20s really shapes you, like really shapes you for your life ahead. So that's what I am most appreciative of. The one thing I hated about my 20s is the dating game. It's so exhausting. Okay, first of all, I was like the queen of no. I never really had lots of boyfriends, like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, in your 20s, you are yearning to have that soulmate, that, you know, that one, that your person, you're yearning for that. But at the same time, I also knew what I didn't want. And even when you got to know someone, and you know, it's different when you are with someone and when you see someone and you just like them for their face. Because I got into such a toxic relationship. I don't even consider it a relationship, because it was all of 4 months, because I just couldn't take his attitude, and he would get upset over the most random things. And I feel like if I stayed with him, he would have probably killed me in my sleep. You know, he's that, like, you know, still waters run deep. That saying exists for a reason. But I'm so glad I'm not dating. I'm so glad. I always tell Sebastian, like, if he had to die, I would never marry again. I would never, like, I'm just not mentally prepared for that process again. No hate to people who remarry, do your thing, but for me, I feel like marriage is enough once. I'm not doing it. The dating process, wow. The one thing that I will take away from my 20s is that you will probably learn very quickly that you are not everyone's cup of tea, and not everybody will be your cup of tea, and that is okay. I'm at a point in my life where if we vibe, if we gel, all good in the hood. But if I feel that you are overstepping your boundaries or not respecting my boundaries and you are borderline toxic, that's where I draw the line and cut you off, because life is too short to be around people who make you unhappy or who do not reciprocate the friendship. You know what I mean? Like, gone are those days where I will give in 100% or come with genuine good intentions and, you know, have that thrown in my face for whatever reason. I'm just done. Like, we are not in high school anymore. I'm turning 30 and I must still be dealing with high school tendencies? No. So that is what I've realized, and I'm somebody who loves being by myself. Like, even before Sebastian, before kids, like when I was as single could get, I still loved being by myself. So in no way, shape or form will I beg anyone for friendship. And if I was this way before my family now, how much more now with my husband who enjoys my company? Like, if somebody doesn't want to be my friend, or if you're offended by me in some way, or vice versa, and it's just not working out, then let it not work out. It's okay. It reminds me of this saying, I'm paraphrasing, but it says, you could get the most luscious peach, juicy peach, you know, the sweetest peach. You could be the best peach in the world, but there will still be someone who hates peaches. You know what? You can't please everyone. You know, some people are not meant to be in your life for forever, for an eternity. Some are there for a season and they're gone, and that is okay. I feel like it's so important to learn how to be okay with yourself, so that if somebody's season is over in your life, you're not an emotional wreck and you're not like dying. You know, you must still be able to function if people choose to walk away from you. That's one thing I've taken away from my 20s. And if somebody does not want me in their life, cool beans, we keep it moving. No hard feelings. I wish you the best, but yeah, you are not always someone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Alright guys, that is it for my video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you could relate, please comment. Let's share experiences. I love reading comments when they do come through. It's so exciting that a conversation can be sparked. If you didn't like this video, well then it is what it is, you know what I mean? But anyway guys, that's it from me. With that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Take care of yourself. Bye.